That one felt good.
Ripping and tearing through hunks of flesh and metal and steel and bone, cleaving enemies in two, demons, monsters, lizard people, all of the above and more. Welcome once more, all you beautiful ladies and animals, as we go over the history of chainsaw-based weaponry in video games and entertainment. Not only jorking it to some of the best examples, but also deciding which is the most powerful among them. Anything that's just a regular chainsaw is pretty much going to be ignored, notable exception aside. But all the specialty weapons and guns, they'll be in here. The Lancer from Gears of War, chainswords from Warhammer 40k, the Lament from Destiny, and of course the good old-fashioned steel from Doom. As always, if you like this and want even more, subscribe to the channel and check out our other crossover videos in a playlist up there in the corner. Without further ado, let's get into it. Starting with one of my personal favorites, an assault rifle firing at unknown caliber but likely around the same as the snub pistol, which we know is firing 50 Action Express. The Lancer itself is a gun with a dual feed magazine shaped like the letter Y on the inside, with the chainsaw blade itself running through the middle of the magazine. Made specifically to cut through the hides of the locust, we also see the Lancer cut through metal wires, wood, and crates, and even DBs, robotic soldiers, with little to no issue. At least in game. In lore, it's a whole different thing. People cut off their fingers all the time, but we're going to ignore that. But the saws are limited by their size. Larger units like the Locust Scions or Boomers are just too large and unable to be cut through. And it's fairly easy to defend against, with other chainsaws or tough weapons like the Claw able to defend against the bayonet attack. But where the saw itself fails, the Lancer is still a hyper-accurate rifle with extreme range and plenty of practicality. While in the lore it's stated to be an issue to the user, the classic Lancer chainsaw bayonet is a strong first contender for the strongest weapon on the list. But we're not done with Gears quite yet. We also have the Buzzkill. While not a chainsaw so specifically, the Buzzkill is an industrial cutting tool that, just the same as the Lancer, has no issue slicing through the steel robots and fleshy meat bags all the same. While originally just a reloadable lumber saw, the Buzzkill has been modified to shoot the saw blades at such a high velocity they bounce off of surfaces. Again, a strong contender, although a bit dangerous to the user if it's used improperly. Now, a lot of things in Doom are blown to the extreme. The Super Shotgun is a double barrel souped up to look like a weapon that belongs to a mythical beast, which it does. The Doomslayer is someone so lethal that he only wields conventional weapons so that the demons he faces can suffer for longer. His chain gun is normally supposed to be equipped to mech suits. The Slayer fires that shit from the hip regardless. The rocket launcher is a weapon of hell infused with demonic energy. So what mystical tale is behind the Slayer's chainsaw? Well, none. It's literally just a chainsaw. Smuggled onto the UMC's Mars base by a crewman through some sort of black market, it's a trinket. So how does it graze through barons and pinkies like nothing? That's the Slayer's doing. Doomslayer, the being that shook the boots of the heavens and the hells, put his entire might into the chainsaw, making it into such a deadly device, chewing through nearly everything he comes across, anything small enough to get diced by it at the very least. So as to the question of how powerful the chainsaw from Doom is, it depends. In the hands of you or me, it might as well be another Ryobi power tool. In the hands of the Slayer, well, he's the Doomslayer. If he's coming for you, there's a lot more to worry about than the particular chainsaw he wields. Because let's remind ourselves that the Slayer was so badass, so incorruptible, so unyielding in his hatred that when coming face to face with the creator of reality, the Slayer's creator transformed his body to copy that of the Slayer so that it would be an even match. And still lost. Essentially, it's not the chainsaw that's powerful, but the Slayer behind it. This one is mainly a repeat of the Buzzkill from Gears of War, but with one main difference. While the Buzzkill does chew through flesh, bone, and metals, the Ripper is designed specifically to cut into and mine stone in the depths of space. Tungsten blades with diamond-tipped teeth that can chew right through the toughest materials in the galaxy. But separate from the toughness and design, the Ripper is also so much more compact, mobile, and accurate in its use. A wrist-mounted launcher that may fall behind the Buzzkill for ammo consumption, the gravity well that allows the user to hold the blade out in front of them for an extended time makes it a deadly and versatile weapon, while also being able to launch discs out at high speeds, just like the Buzzkill. In practical situations, the Ripper is very similar to the Buzzkill, but better in almost every regard, which tracks, seeing as the Buzzkill is essentially just a bit of logging equipment jerry-rigged into a weapon. Resident Evil is no stranger to chainsaws. For a zombie series, obviously they make several appearances, even going so far as to release a special controller in the shape of, you guessed it, a chainsaw. But in Resident Evil 7, there's a special chain-based weapon that stands out as being more than just another power tool. Jack Baker's pair of the world's deadliest scissors, which is essentially just a chunk of toothed sheet metal hinged on the side of a chainsaw. Now this would suck to go against unarmed and in the hands of an immortal zombie maniac, but it kind of falls under the purview of the Doom chainsaw. Against a regular Joe Schmo, it's just a chainsaw with a crude sword attached onto a pivot. Shoot the guy holding it, and the lethality of the weapon is entirely undone. Now, I know the Guardians are stupid space wizards that like to boogie down and wield the power of no you, but hey, this one is actually pretty OP. Not only does it act like 40k power weapons and totally ignores the shields of an opponent, but this revving sword also heals the user as it's being used. Now, to the use of this weapon, it's unclear whether or not someone who doesn't have the light could use the abilities of this weapon, like powering it through heavy ammo, which cannot be done without a ghost turning our enemies into literal gasoline for the chainsaw. But regardless of the abilities, the sword as a sword would be almost useless in the hands of a regular man, as its immense size and unwieldy nature for anyone who isn't a demigod would be an issue to say the very least. So for the Lament, even though Destiny is stupidly overpowered in many ways, it's gonna depend. Now, alongside a boomstick, Ash's chainsaw is the coolest and grooviest of them all. But like so many others, it's still just a chainsaw. If anything, it's probably a little worse, considering it requires you to lop off a palm in order to wield the damn thing. Ash is one hell of a deadite extermination machine, but his trusty chainsaw is just that, without the groove behind it. There's a lot of chainsaw-based weapons in the world of 40k. With Gears-esque chainsaw bayonets, chain axes, and titanic chainsaws wielded by the Knights and Titans of the Imperium, we're simply going to look at one of the standard variants of the weapon. For this video, we're going to look at the Eviscerator variant, often used by the more religious sects of the Imperium, a large two-handed chainsword with a small generator that is also used in power swords, allowing it to rip through shields where the main teeth are already strong enough to cut through thick hulls on tanks and armored suits. For an Astartes with a chainsword, that's like a tank running at you with a promise of disembowelment. For a Commissar, it's more of a status symbol and a close quarters nightmare. We're comparing the chainsaws here based on merit, devoid of the context of the wielder. Because we all know a Guardian with Lament would... They're screwed, they'd all get spanked. So instead of trying the failure of a task that is comparing the Astartes to the Slayer, we're comparing these weapons based on the deadliness they'd afford to a regular person. Just taking a couple of people off the street and handing each of them a chainsaw-based weapon in the goriest Mr. Beast challenge of all time. I wrote the script with all this stuff. Whatever, Mr. Beep. I don't. What. So which one comes out on top then? Based on the lethality of ranged warfare totally making most melee weapons obsolete, I think all of the hand-to-hand combatants are taken out right away. Even the Lament and chainsword, while powerful, they can be pretty easily countered when not in the hands of angels and demigods who often wield them as a weapon of choice, leaving us with the 3 weapons that you don't have to get up close and personal with in order to be lethal: the Lancer, Buzzkill, and Ripper. Now, as we already went over, I think the Ripper is just a more effective version of the Buzzkill, eliminating that one from the race. So, the Lancer or the Ripper? Not playing favorites, but this final showdown is going to come down to the arena. The Ripper is great and lethal, but can only go so far, and firing at long ranges means your ammo is going to burn up fast, versus the Lancer, which is incredibly accurate at range, while also affording you a lot more chances to get off a shot with magazines that hold up to 60 rounds, depending on the variant of the Lancer. Close up, I think it'd go to the Ripper. The blades are deadlier than the Lancer's rifle, but at range, the Lancer is more dependable and available to be used because it's much more than just a chainsaw. It's an assault rifle with a chainsaw attached under the barrel. But that's the boring answer. When we look at all these weapons and compare them, say if we had an 8-way chainsaw duel, who comes out on top? Well, right away, all standard chainsaws are eliminated. Ash, the Buzzkill, the Lancer, the Scissors, and even the Doomsaw are all taken out right away as they are quickly outclassed by the superior craftsmanship of the others. The Ripper is tungsten and diamond tipped, and while the Lament and Eviscerators are capable of slicing through giant layers of explosive resistant armor as well as ignoring powered shields in the hands of a regular person, I think it's gotta go to the Eviscerator. The Lament can only be held up for so long, especially with how heavy this beefy thing would be, and the Eviscerator cuts through the ultra sci-fi adamantium whatever armor of the Space Marines like butter. The Ripper can be diamond tipped and whatever, but the Eviscerator is made specifically to cut through things that you shouldn't be able to cut through. And I really hate this, but I gotta give it to Warhammer 40k. God damn it, son of a fucking bitch, I don't want Warhammer to keep winning, what the fuck? If it wasn't a regular person, the Lament would win, let's just be clear. Well, no, actually, the Slayer would win, but if it... But other than that, unfortunately, I have to give this to Warhammer. I wish I knew of other chainsaw things I could throw in this. In the comments down below, give me a chainsaw that beats Warhammer 40k. Fuck them bitches and their Wolverine cutting-ass chainsaw thing. But that's just my take on it. Let me know which blade you think comes out on top, or which chainsaw-based weapons I didn't include in today's video that might stand a chance against the Eviscerator from Warhammer. As always, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment below if you've liked this and want even more. As always, our Colorful World merch is still up. This is all for charity, so proceeds from each and every shirt, apron, or mug is going to be donated to my local food bank. So if you'd like to help me support a good cause, get your wonderfully soft shirt down below. I'm not even fucking kidding. I ordered a few for myself, and oh my god, I fall asleep in them. They're so fantastic. Just pick one up. Anyways, remember to stay cool, have fun, and be awesome. Buster out.